Hi everybody, John Sevier, CKWI Radio 76. We are here, and it's a thrilling thing today because we've seen how busy this gentleman has been all day long. Jim Lau is with us today. Jim, exactly what is your title here for PRI?
I'm the PRI General Manager.
So that means you get to go in any room?
I get to do a little bit of everything.
I mean, how long does this take? Because this can't be like you woke up this December 1st and said, maybe we should do something.
Not at all. It's a year-long process. The team, literally, as we leave here, is already thinking and planning for next year. The process to bring exhibitors back and really the attendee promotion starts. We think about new ideas. Hey, what did we try this year that worked, that didn't work? What can we improve on? Come January, we're already working on the 2024 show.
When do you sleep?
Winter break. Christmas.
Because we're looking at this. I mean, if you go all the way back to the Formula Drift days, you know, for the import drag racing days, I mean, do you wake up and you go, I should start something today?
No, not at all. I think I've been fortunate that different paths and roadblocks along the way led me to a lot of great experiences and opportunities. If it wasn't for my first internship at a publishing company in the industry, I would not have discovered any of this.
Well, because we're looking at it, and with everything that you started and everything that you're involved in, we figured you have to be anywhere between like 70 or 90 years old.
Sometimes it feels like it can, right?
Because we're thinking because how many phones, because we've seen Ben Kaminsky, he's got 2 phones at every given time, and they're both blasting. Me, I would have they lost it in the toilet, sorry, But everybody's got to be on top of you. I mean, is there any time where you can just say, hang on, folks?
Well, you just manage your time, right? It's a balance between when you need to shut off and when you need to be on. But when you're on, you got to be able to multitask. And oftentimes I don't mean to look rude, but I'm on the phone because it's the fastest way to send multiple messages to multiple people and communicate at the same time, literally. But it's events, and I did it before. I'm doing it now. We just have to synchronize and coordinate between people that are doing handling and responsible for different parts of the show, and it all culminates to just as long as the attendees and you and people that come don't see it, don't feel it, then we've done our job. So no matter how chaotic and crazy it is behind the scenes, that doesn't matter.
Is there anything that you had once that it was like, this is 5 alarm? Be cool about it, but was there something that just went, how the heck?
COVID. that was
because you just started with this right around that time.
I came into PRI right after. We were still running I was still running the Formula Drift series. We had we had 8 stops across the country, delay after delay, literally every morning waking up to what state is shut down now? What track is open? What track is not? How do we readjust the schedule? How do we readjust the schedule? Do we need to cancel the whole season? What do we do? Literally months of that to a point where we finally salvaged a season, partially with people in stands, partially distant, all that stuff. And we got through 2020.
Wow. We're thinking about with Drift and with all that stuff. How did they get on your phone and said, Jim, we have an opportunity for you?
Well, I've always been involved with SEMA and with PRI. PRI is a show that we've come to, and in my previous role, have encouraged teams. Drifting is comprised of a lot of young drivers and a lot of young, team builders. It's their first foray in formal professional motorsports, and a lot of them do not know about this show. Encouraging them to come, and this is the kind of the bridge I think for me is we were encouraging people to come because there's a lot to learn here. There's a lot of cross-pollination with different genres. I'm in drifting, but I can learn from off-road. I can learn from short track. What type of products, suspension, engine, transmission, etc., that we can use. And I see that as this is a place to do that. I was also quite involved with SEMA, our parent organization. Volunteered on various councils and networks. Knew a ton of the staff that worked for both. So it was kind of a natural progression. I expanded beyond just drifting and the drifting person alone, and taking on a little bit more and a little bit broader field and kind of multiple genres of racing.
I mean, did they call you up and say, "Look, we love your resume"? I mean, were you actively looking to be the general manager here, or did they say, we saw you walking around, nice suit, you want to be the GM?
No, not actively looking, but there's definitely some great supporters and people that I've worked with, again, through volunteering and kind of connecting through the different staff members and management team here that kind of lobbied for it and thought it would be a good idea. And I thought it was time that the drifting series have grown. It just completed its 20th season. So when I left, we just completed our 18th season. So that is a well-oiled machine. They've got great leadership. There's seasoned teammates that can run and operate like no other. So it was a great opportunity for me, again, to learn, to grow, to challenge myself, to take on a role like this, at the same time leaving that sport and that series in good hands.
Do you ever think, because, I mean, this is what, your second year now, third year here?
This is my third PRI show as general manager.
Ever think about going, maybe we could do two? Maybe we could do a summer version, like closer to Detroit or something. I mean, this is a huge undertaking. I mean, how much staff do you have to pull this off? Because everybody goes, oh, it must be easy. People just like show up and it's like a farmer's market.
It's like gremlins. They grow. we have a core team. There's a little over a dozen of us that are dedicated staff that's for PRI and PRI related products like the magazine itself. But then we also have those that cross kind of both brands. So we lean on a lot of staff that's at the SEMA team on a variety of tasks and back end support and so forth. So that team grows in that sense. And then obviously once we come on site, the team grows. We have contractors that specialize in managing certain areas. We have obviously the convention center, Visit Indy. They all play a part in contributing to, now we kind of have a small army of people running this show this week.
Because we're thinking that if you did, could you pull off two PRIs?
Could we? Probably.
Keep your sanity.
Yeah, right.
Then it goes to no.
No, I think could we? Probably. I think, is there an appetite for that? Probably. But one lesson I learned from, not just from Foreman Drift, but even before in various event companies that I'd worked for, is that sometimes you have to say no. You have to pace yourself. You have to pace not just what one entity, so in this case would be us, or in Foreman Drift's case, or the event promoter producers. A singular perspective, yeah, let's grow. Let's add another round. Let's add another race. Let's add another event, because there's growth, there's opportunity. But we oftentimes, companies or people that make those decisions forget that it's actually a community of people. Will attendees attend? Will exhibitors, which is a vital part of the show, will exhibitors attend both shows? And if they won't or can't, or we're stretching them, then now you've produced a second or a third product that's a watered down version of what you think it is. So unless you can be confident that you can replicate exactly what's happening here in another place, then it's a thanks but no thanks. We'll continue to make this as good as possible and continue to grow this. We do have, some of our listeners have said, we have to ask you before, why do they have it this close into December? Yes, there is always talk about that or questions about that, but think about racing. Tracks are shutting down for the winter. Most race teams that I know have their cars in 1,000 pieces because they're getting ready for next year. Race series some are still announcing their dates for the following year. What better time when a lot of the business of running races and events and a race team is sort of on a little bit of a break, to get them out of their shops, out of the tracks, out of their offices, to come here, talk business for 3 days, reconnect. Yeah. There's a lot of familiar faces, and it's as much fun as it is doing business. I mean, when do you get here? I mean, everybody else is here Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
You get here a week beforehand?
Yeah, well, I got in Sunday, but we have team members that are here, Wednesday. So they're on site for 10, 11 days. Really just setting up. Again, I keep leaning on the people like the convention center, because they just had the Big Ten championship and they turned this place around probably within less than 24 hours to have it ready for us to come in, put signs up, bring exhibitors in, cars, and all that. So we do have really good partners here.
Yeah, so I mean, anybody who's from the great state of Michigan noticed that Iowa game just a few days, and we go, you know what? There's going to be big trailers there in about 48 hours. How the heck are they going to turn that around? Subsequently, though, we noticed that EV is now expanded downstairs. The go-kart thing is pretty neat and all that stuff. But, that's pretty radical to go from, because it used to be just like in the pocket.
Right.
And now there's like evidently a conscious effort to really expand it. Are we expanding it more last year or next year? Is that kind of a growth thing?
We are. I think it's organic, right? It's as the market demands. And maybe part of the growth this year is not just EV, but really just alternative forms of propulsion and fuel. So there's electrification, but there are series that are doing hybrid technology and hydrogen and clean propane and renewable fuel, sustainable fuel. We want to embrace and be open to all of it, because it's all a learning and education opportunity. Again, if I'm an attendee, I'm a race team, I'm a series, I'm coming, maybe I'm seeing something that I've never seen, I'm seeing something that another series is doing, and I can learn from that and give myself an idea going into next season or the season after.
Whose idea was it for the go-karts?
Our trade show director, Karen Davidson, had thought about years past. We had done go-karting. When we're in a different city, when we're in Orlando, you're able to do things, outdoors. Yeah. And there was some go-kart racing that was done in the past, and we thought it'd be a good idea to bring it back. And it just worked out. We had the space. Top Kart had EV carts. The convention center allowed us to throw them inside the stadium. We tested it. It seemed to work.
Tested it. You tested it.
I did put a couple laps in, but I wasn't the tester. But the Top Kart team came and drove on the surface and felt that it worked, and it's just fun, right? Like just making it dynamic. Racing is such a dynamic, sport, and it's so visceral. We want to just find ways to bring it to life, and that's just one small way we could do it.
So will there be drag racing next year?
We'll see what we can squeeze in there.
Jim, how many times, and we've seen you bounce all around here today. Man, it's like you're a ping pong ball. Well, you're part of the job. How much is actually doing this, and how much is it doing interviews?
It's a little bit of everything. All joking aside, I do a little bit of part of my role is to bridge, watch over all the different departments, and really we have great team members that kind of handle their own area, and all I can do is just check in and see how they're doing and what they need, and free up some time and speak to people like you, and we want to talk about the show.
Is there anything here, Jim, where you go, you know what, that's interesting, I want to go check that out? Whether it be a seminar or a booth or something, because there's so much to see here. This is like the Super Bowl Disneyland of high performance. It just is, and especially for just the common man, so to speak. You just, wow.
That's what it is. It's so authentic and organic and just dynamic in that sense that every year you come in here, there's bound to be a different race car, something new, something different that you want to see. You walk the floor, and you just look at that, and where else can you see, a dirt track sprint car and a Formula One car,
right,
all in the same place.
And the funny thing is, you also see like the big booths, the EFIs, the Holley EFIs and stuff, and yet the ones that always tug at our hearts are the guys that make like push rods. Like Bob's push rods, and that's it. He has one booth, it's him, his wife, whatever. Love those things, because it's the first time that we actually can talk to, because normally you talk to the big corporation, but to go one-on-one, that's one of the beautiful things about doing PRI.
the ability to communicate and have meaningful dialogue is really important, and it definitely happens here. And yes, Bob's push rods, and great for Bob's push rods because they may be focused in drag racing and they may be well known in drag racing, but because of the show, somebody that races off-road or drifting or autocross will say, actually, I've been looking for something like that because that's what we're looking for to put in our motor for the following season or whatever, the rules change it, whatever it is.
Right, yeah.
And that's when it's magic.
Yeah, I think so too. And that whole thing where they have like a slab of billet steel, and it's like we're going to make an engine block out of it, and you watch it happen, and it's like amazing,
Yeah.
you know. And then again, you have the glitzy, you know, the really nice, the Chevrolets, whatever kind of things. Next year, is there something you're looking forward to? You go, we got to have this. I'm thinking about having this new thing coming next year at PRI. You know, I mean, like this year would be the go-kart, you know, kind of thing. Is there like next year you go, let's see if we can get these guys?
You know, actually, I'm more soaking in, and I tied that back to earlier stories. So I'm soaking into our esports arena because it was definitely nerve-wracking to put something new together. It's the first time we've had that.
Right.
There's different exhibitors that would have like one racing sled or whatever it is, but putting that together was a little nerve-wracking, and to see it to where it is, I think we planted a really good seed for growth. Actually, it's more about, you know, looking at something like that and seeing, all right, how can we grow that even more? Can we have the finale of a gaming tournament or one of the virtual series to be here? And to really take away from, okay, what did people like and didn't like about that, and grow that. And my reference is that the head of SRO, which is the main sanctioning body that's running the esports area, was a person that gave me my internship.
Small world.
Yep.
Now, we better tell you, too, esports. This is how it's going on. There is high schools now that have esport teams, you know, and downstairs or at Lucas, they have monitor after monitor after monitor. Briefly tell the folks what's going on with the esports here, and why is esports at PRI?
Yeah, so, 2020, pre-pandemic, there was gaming. There was some simulator use and people getting more serious. 2020 really advanced that because when race series couldn't go on track, where did they go? They went online. And so a lot of race series had to either catch up, or it was their opportunity to really shine because they had a really robust system. They had kind of the programming in place, the rules in place, how to recruit, how to race, how to broadcast, live stream, etc. And exiting the pandemic, now you've gone scaled up. And so it's another natural kind of entry point progression of racing, whether it's go-karts or whether you started playing a game and you progress your way through. It doesn't matter, right? We want as many people to be interested in racing, to join the industry, whether you want to end up being a racer or you're programming for a simulator or you're engineering an IndyCar. That's what we want to breed, and we want to get young people to be enthusiastic about, and then all the way up to tier one, right? Like, race car drivers are like fighter pilots, and where do they go train? They will go to Dallara and rent a first class simulator, and they're training. And there's from entry level all the way to professionals. There's something for you.
Yeah, let's be clear. This isn't like doing Outrun on your Sega system. I mean, this is heavy, heavy duty.
Not at all. We had our coordinating editor go drive, and he said if I had put it on a higher, like a more advanced setting, and I spun out, it would probably sprain my wrist. The feedback, the real life type of feedback on the wheel, and so that's an advanced simulator. So that they're giving drivers a real life training. So you're getting a lot of seat time. Maybe the weather's bad. Maybe you're short on funds and you can't trailer your car out to the track or whatever it is. You're getting extra seat time, and that makes you a better driver. And so when you're out racing, that makes you a better competitor.
Will this expand next year?
I hope so.
The e-sport thing?
Yeah.
Wow. Because I mean, are you going to do head-to-head?
We will be.
A little scoop. Cool, because those things are so fun to watch.
Yeah.
You know, and the funny thing is that the e-sport things, they fill out arenas.
They do.
You know, this isn't just like some kind of flash in the pan, kids are playing video games with those Atari things and beep, beep, beep. No, it's not. This is, because there was a simulator last year. I think it was some Italian folks that Ben and I were running around with, and it was, I think it was a wraparound monitor system, and that forced feedback on every time, every little bump. This isn't, again, like something that you put a quarter in years ago with a little steering wheel. This is as close to the real deal as you can possibly get.
Definitely.
You know, so that's great. All right, last thing possible. Folks were going, so with the import drag racing, with the Formula Drift, with this, how did you start with donuts?
How did I start doing? Oh, you mean?
Yeah, it was like, wait a minute. You grow up, your parents come over, you have this donut shop, and you have to do this thing on Saturday. And then from apple fritter to PRI, is that the new title of your book?
I wanted to make sure that was the reference. I'm glad you brought that up. I guess it's like part of, it's foreshadowing, right? Yeah, my immigrant parents, they opened a donut shop. They had it for a couple of years, and I grew up loving and hating donuts at the same time. And lo and behold, a couple decades later, we're in a sport and we're in an industry that people love doing donuts. So. There you go. See how that all comes full circle? Yeah. And we're glad you did. Jim, thank you so very much for being with us. Yeah, thank you so much.
Come back again when we come see you next year at your house. So thanks a lot. And thank you for being with us for the only station that gives a damn about the greatest sport on earth, and that's drag racing. Welcome to CKIW Radio 76.